we're going to continue right along here with our race-winning driver, Ryan Blaney. That number 12. If you have questions for Ryan, go ahead and raise your hand. Or we're going to go and start with Stephen Conley. Go ahead with your question, Stephen.
Congratulations on the win today, Ryan. I'm curious of how much that you had to save at the beginning of that final run, and then were you a little surprised that Larson fell off as much as he did at the end?
Yeah, we you're always kind of saving, right? You never know when cautions are going to come out and when they're not, but yeah, we fired off after the last green flag stop, and yeah, it was going to be over a 50-lap run. So you're like, I do need to save a little bit, even if you do get a caution, if you save a little bit and not lose a lot, you'll be fine. So, yeah. And I knew our strong area of our car was not the short run. We weren't that good on the short run. We could just kind of maintain, not with Larson, he would drive away, but just maintain with everybody. And then after 15, 20 laps, we kind of start coming forward, and then towards the end of those longer runs, we'd really start coming forward, and that we made a big step on that in the last stage, and just getting tighter. I was pretty free all day, and we were be able to get tighter and keep the rear tires under it. It looked like he was getting pretty free, so just able to drive up and get a good run off 3 and 4, and get by him full.
Yeah.
And with the age of this surface, they talk a lot about the repaves, but saw the cars moving around a lot today, the bumps being a big struggle. Can you describe how physically demanding this racetrack is and what it takes to maneuver around this racetrack?
Yeah, it's tough. I know people have been having talks about the repave, but I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon. I mean, I think you talk to anybody, they really like this place the way it is. Yeah, it's rough. I mean, the bumps, getting down to the bottom 1 and 2 is rough. 3 and 4 kind of, you got that wavy kind of set of bumps there. It makes it hard to hold the line. But yeah, it's just a big challenge. I talked to Todd a lot today about our car hitting the racetrack pretty hard, and it upsetting it. And we got that, as the race went on, it got a little bit better. So yeah, it's just the challenges of Atlanta. And, sometimes you can do your best to try to get over them and get over those bumps, but a lot of the times you just kind of have to just drive through them and work on your car around those bumps.
Thank you.
And we are now also joined by winning crew chief Todd Gordon. Todd, walk us through that win from your perspective today.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Felt like we've had long run cars here in the past. I thought last year we were that way, and definitely paid off with that last stage being that last run being almost a fuel run. So excited about, everybody got a chance to work together here. I thought Pickery did a good job on pit road. I thought Ryan drove a heck of a race all day long, and especially that last run, just kind of grinding his way forward to put some pressure on the 5. And it's just after a tough first couple races and starting with a pretty big points hole. I think the last couple of weeks we've been digging our way out of it, and this is a place I really wanted to win at. I felt like in the past I've had opportunities that have been close, but you love winning at these places that are all old wore out racetracks, because everybody's got to step up and do their part. And I thought Ryan did a great job today, and guys put together a good race car for him.
Our next question is going to come from Bob Pockers. Go ahead with the question, Bob.
Yeah, this is for Todd. You probably heard what Ryan said about don't repave, but I'm curious if they
don't repave. Don't repave. Don't repave.
He's gonna have the same answer as me.
Well, I guess my
said
question
that for 5 years, and I'll say it for the next 10.
But they're not going to be able to go the next 10. So the question is if you're going to introduce the next gen car, is it okay to run on the old surface for a couple of years with next gen and then repave, or would you prefer to just have everything new at once?
Yeah, this place is, you got to love these old wore out racetracks. You look at it and you got this place in California and Homestead come to mind for me, and Darlington's, come back into it. But when you look at it, like today, you saw cars run on the wall. You saw cars running and splitting that last seam up top. You saw cars running on the bottom. And the older that these surfaces get and the less grip that they got in them, we can put a softer tire on it, and you get cars that can run all over the place. And when we repave and get all the grip back in the asphalt, there's a balance there, and the tires have to be harder to keep us in a box that we've got to be in, and you lose that ability to race all over the racetrack. So I would keep this surface as long as we can until it starts coming up. And when you get to that and it becomes a safety issue, then you have to address it. But until you get to that point, I'd love to race the next gen car here on this surface, and I'm glad we get to race it again later this year. Great to have 2 events here at Atlanta now this year.
And for Ryan, was there a point in that last run where, I mean, I'm sure you never lost confidence, but was there a point where you're like, oh, Larson is beatable today, and I've got enough to beat him?
Honestly, I didn't really think that until the, I'd say the start of the last stage. He had a huge lead there in that second stage, and then he didn't really get that far out in front of me. In the start of the third stage, and then we were running him down pretty good, until we pitted there. And he got a little bit ways away from me on pit road after we came out, and he stretched his lead out a tiny bit, but I was just like, all right, it's going to be a 50+ lap run. I'm going to try to save my stuff a little bit. Hopefully we'll even out and he'll start coming back to me, because he started coming back to me really hard at the end of that first run. So, at the start and halfway through the final stage, I had confidence that we made really good changes to our car, and just hoping that, it'd be a long run towards the end, because that was really the only shot we had to beat him. I wasn't going to beat him in a 10-lap shootout. His car was so good, but luckily and we're fortunate it played out for a long run, and he said just great long run car, like Todd said, just awesome.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead with the question, Jordan.
Hey guys, I have a few questions, and this first question is for both Todd and Ryan. You guys, over the last few years, have had a lot of races. You guys have led a lot of laps, been dominant, been in position to win, and then seen something happen where it's gone away. This was kind of the opposite of that today. Does it feel good to get a win like this after what you've had these experiences before?
Who wants to answer it first?
Go ahead. I just got done talking.
All right. Yeah, it does. I think there's a lot of things that, this is just the growth of a relationship and confidence building amongst each. It's great to be in a position where you're chasing them down, where you're the hunter, not the honey. And, I think it just speaks for, I've watched Ryan grow in the last 14 months. He's had tons of speed, and he continues to do things, and we're understanding what we need to do as a race team to give him better stuff at the end of the race. And there's been places we've gone the other way, and that's all part of the learning curve. But trying to put that together, I was thoroughly impressed with the drive there after stage 2, and like what Ryan talked about, he knew that late in that run before the pit cycle and in the final run, he was running Kyle down pretty hard, and love the fact that he could put the pressure on him and still run up there at the top. And I think this is something that we as a team can continue to build off of, and I think there's a lot more opportunities to do this. And yeah, we've had a couple of situations where it's gone away from us, but I would say that we all are figuring out what those pieces are that we can put together to make sure that we're successful at the end. And today was a culmination of those. We'll build off that.
Yeah, I mean, what Todd said. Yeah, it is a little bit of the opposite. From last year, we led tons of laps in some races and just didn't work out. But today, you keep yourself in the hunt. At all these races, you keep yourself running up front, and you're going to stack up wins. Today was a great example. We weren't the best car to the first half of the day, and we kept working on it. And everyone did a great job, pit crew included, of keeping us in the game. Keeping us top 3 all day, and we got our car to where it needed to be, and we were able to capitalize on it. So it's just about staying in the game, and we did that really well today. So I'm proud of everybody.
And the second question, this is for Ryan. You've won a race now for 5 straight seasons. You have not won 2 races in a season. Going into this year, was that a goal? Was that the expectation of, hey, we've got to take that next step and become a multi-race winner?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's nice to win a race every year, but, you don't want to just win one race, and honestly, you don't want to, it's nice to get a win early in the season right now. We're what, six races in, something like that. And, 6 different winners, but it's nice to get a win early in the season. That's something that's kind of eluded us. We got that win at Talladega last year, but it was a little, it was mid-season. So getting one early is great. And, we had the potential to do it last year. And like Todd said, we're just learning each other, and just really proud of the effort. And I look forward to, the rest of the season here.
Thanks, guys.
Our next question will come from Jim Utter. Go ahead with the question, Jim.
Got one question for Todd and one question for Ryan. For Todd, from a crew chief perspective, how did you look at a potential 56 lap run to the finish on the tires and the way that they were working today for your team?
I was foaming at the mouth, excited about it. I think, as you looked at it later in the runs, we were running the guys back down, and the race kind of played out with the comp caution at 25. Then you got a little bit longer run, and then to split the stage 1.5, and then stage 2 was another 8 or 9 laps that you had to run. So as we kept seeing that go, we saw the speed of our car on the long run and what Ryan was able to do with it. And, I was actually contemplating short pitting that last cycle as soon as we got in our fuel window, just to force everybody into a long run there. But I shrunk up and a little chicken there, but definitely was excited to see the cycle start when it did. Was just trying to work through a couple things on what we want to do that final adjustment. We were talking through some things back and forth, and I wasn't willing to pit until we got to that point. So glad to see the cycle start a little early and jump on it, because I felt like that was going to put us in a good window for the last 20 laps of the race, and like it did today. So we've had good long run cars at different places. This was one that I really felt like last year we did, and we knew what we wanted to do to make it a little better, and we were able to do that. And was really excited to see a 56 lap run.
Thanks. And for Ryan, with the win in hand early in the season, now heading to unfamiliar territory with a dirt race, what's your approach going into that next weekend?
Go get another win. It's no one knows what to expect, right? Everyone's they're going into it very optimistic. And, from seeing videos of, the late models that have been racing on there here this week, the track's gotten pretty rough. Now, granted, we aren't going to be going nearly that fast that those guys are going. We'll be seconds slower than them. So we'll see, but no, I'm excited. It's my dad actually ran, the dirt race at Bristol in the early 2000s when they did it. They did it for like 3 years, and he did it 1 year, and he said it was just incredible in a sprint car. So that's neat to bring him back. But no, I'm just excited to see how it all plays out. It's going to be nice to be able to practice, and then have heat races and then race. That part's going to be nice. So yeah, just looking forward to it. It's going to be something new, and drivers like new things.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Our next question will come from Lee Spencer. Go ahead with the question, Lee.
Thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen. Just curious, Ryan, how much patience did it take for you to tell the team, I'm just going to let Kyle go, he's just too fast, and then save your equipment there for the end?
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah. We got the lead on the pit stop. The wall guys did a great job, getting out there ahead of him, and well, they would hold him off for a little bit, but he was just so good. And on the short run there, and if I was going to stick with him, I wasn't even going to be able to stick with him, and I was going to burn my stuff all the way up. So I was like, I just got to save my tires. I just got to save my right rear, and we'll see what happens. Because at that point, when I said that, no one was able to touch him all day. He would straight away you, and then even more than that. So it's like, I just got to ride here, and we'll see what a longer run. If he starts coming back to us. So. Just kind of the position you were in, or I was in, just knowing that if I try to hang with him, which I wouldn't be able to even hang with him, I'm just going to burn my stuff up. And then when he started coming back to us, obviously he's paying dividends, being patient. So just understanding, trying to be a little smarter about this stuff, not just have a heavy right foot. So it's cool to win here today when you got a place to where you have to finesse it a little bit and, kind of think ahead. So that was good, but just, it goes back to just knowing we had a good long run car, like Todd said, just, what you got, you try to play to your strengths. And that's really where that comment came from.
And Todd, what kind of relief is it to have a driver that has some maturity? Because, a lot of guys, they don't want to be the rat, or they want to be the rabbit. They want to get out there. And I mean, a lot of times you have to pull in the reins. And I mean, the fact that he shows that kind of wherewithal, I was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And I think, he's got great balance because if you get him in the right position, he can run a lot of speed. There's places that we've been able to do that and had success with it. But it's good to keep composure. I think he did a great job of managing the situation, understanding this, like he said, understanding the strengths of your race and play to it. It's really cool to watch the maturity and just see the fruits of the labor in the end, because I kind of saw us whittling at the 5 cars lead there, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger going back. So did a really good job, and I'm really proud of him and proud of the growth that I think we've had as a race team.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Deb Williams. Go ahead with the question, Deb.
Thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen. And this is for Todd Gordon. Todd, before this track was reconfigured, it was really conducive to Ford because of the long sweeping turns and the short straightaways. The turns were longer than the straightaways. This is Ford's 5th win in a row here at Atlanta. Do you still see the track as an advantage for Fords? And if so, why? Because I noticed that Ryan was running the top groove when he was running down Larson after having been on the low groove.
Yeah, I think I don't know that I'd say that. I mean, really, if we have cautions that break this up differently, we talk about how dominant the Hendrick group was, or because I felt like we raced the 48 and the 5 most of the day, and the 9 got in the back and got some damage, so I don't know where he was going to lay out, but it's been a good racetrack for us. I think as a whole for our organization, Team Penske, I feel like the rougher, wore out racetracks are a place that we work pretty hard at and are good. I can't speak for why Ford or why not somebody else. I think if you looked at it overall speed, I wouldn't say that it was dominated by Ford today. I thought actually the Hendrick group was probably the strongest organization, but we hit on what we needed to out of our notebook from prior races. So can't really put it on the Ford piece, but it's great that we've got 5 wins in a row for the Blue Oval.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Stephen Toronto. Go ahead with the question, Stephen.
This is going to be a question for Ryan. Ryan, it was actually this race 20 years ago that was probably your dad's best chance ever to win a Cup Series race. Knowing that and having watched his career, did the sight of him trying to win a Cup race for so long, does it make you appreciate the fact that you've won 5 even more?
I'm really happy you brought that up. I was going to bring it up before I left anyway, because I wanted to talk about it. Dad was here today in the stands, and he texted me today. He said, this is the 20-year anniversary of, he was whipping butt in that Amoco car in that race, and the wheel fell off the car, ruined his day, lost the race. He was dominating. And I told him today, I said, we'll win one for the 20th anniversary. And I don't know how solar cycles line up, but every 20 years or something, I don't know, but happy that we were able to avenge that loss on him. But, Dad he's taught me everything that I know. He still comes to, like I said, he was here today. He comes to as many races as he can. Just sits in the stands nowadays. Obviously he can't come in the infield, but he's someone I've always trusted. Have been fortunate to have a dad who's done it all, seen it all. And I still go to him for advice, about anything. And he, whether it's a stern talking to, or it's help, or it's, careful advice. I've always enjoyed talking to him and hearing what he's got to say, and just him being around. That means a lot. I grew up watching Dad race, and now I'm racing full time in NASCAR, and he's watching me. So that's pretty cool. But Dad never got the best of opportunities at the Cup level. He drove for some great race team, Bill Davis, and 1 year at RCR, but he was never with a powerhouse group, I'd say, like a Penske or a Hendrick or a Gibbs, and I hated that for him, that he never got that shot. He was almost a little bit too old when he got into the sport because he was running sprint cars for so long. He never got a great shot with a amazing team like I've been really fortunate to do. So, but it's just nice to have him here. I can't wait to call him and tell him I told you so. We got one back for you. So
That's awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Congratulations.
thanks.
Our next question will come from Chris Knight. Go ahead with the question, Chris.
Hey, Ryan, the Cup Series comes back to you here in July for the summer race. Did you learn anything today that could help you for that race, or is it completely different because of the track conditions, and how much will you beg Todd to let you bring back this car?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll change. It's pretty cool out today. The sun was out most of the race, I think. Might have been overcast, half and half, but it was pretty chilly today. The start of the race was a little warm, but as the sun was going down, it was starting to get cool, and I think it changed the track. So when we come back here, in the summertime, it's going to be hotter and slicker. You can almost compare it to what, when we came back to Atlanta last year, after we got back racing. I think it was around the same time. Speed's going to slow down. It's going to be slicker, but there's definitely notes you can take from today and apply them to the next Atlanta race. How you build your cars, but your basic setup might be a little bit different, but I think you're obviously learn a lot and put stuff in your notebook and try to apply it for the next one, even though it will be a lot hotter.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Steve Hummer with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Go ahead with your question, Steve.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you make of the 6 different winners in the first 6 races, and does it speak for any kind of new or different kind of competitive balance in the sport?
I'm happy I'm one of them. I'll tell you what, we got to 5. I was like, oh, we're racking them up pretty quick, and we need to win one here. But I think it just shows how many people can win in this series, in this sport. You have different winners from different organizations. I think that just shows how competitive it is, and I feel like everyone is doing a great job of figuring out ways to work with their crew chiefs and drivers and teams, and it just goes all in the off season of prep work and how you're going to unload and show up to race. So it's just something we've probably never seen this. I don't know when the last time there was 6 different winners in the first 6 races, but it just shows that a lot of great teams are out there, and you have to be on top of your game. It just shows how many people can win, and there's 15 other teams that can win, at the Cup level. So it just shows how competitive it is.
Our next question will come from Kelly Crandall. Go ahead with the question, Kelly.
Thanks. I have one for Ryan and one for Todd. Ryan, along those same lines, is there anything about any trends or anything from the first 6 weeks that is surprising when it comes to who is and isn't performing right now?
Obviously I think the Hendrick cars are really good. They got a couple wins. The 5 car was crazy fast today. He dominated the whole race, pretty much most of the race, until the last 15 laps or whatever it was, 20 laps when we were starting to catch them. But, so they were good. I think all their cars ran good today. The 9 had trouble. I say the biggest surprise for me, Stuart Haas has been struggling a little bit, which is, I think, shocked everybody. But, great team. They'll figure it out, and they'll get back to where they need to be. The racing is kind of just a big cycle, teams are up top and then other teams find something and it just keeps kind of rotating. And I think, obviously we showed our speed today at the Penske group. I think the other couple cars got damaged for what I was told, but the 21 ran pretty good. I saw them up there a good bit of the day. So I think we're really close, and we made a big step from, I'd even say from Vegas, the last mile and a half, and even Homestead to now. So I was really proud of the leap. but you got to keep working, and you have to do the best you can at finding new things, because every other team's doing that same.
Todd, I've heard from a few crew chiefs that inspection is a little different this year, and that's kind of maybe accounting for some things with teams. Has that affected you guys at all? And what are you seeing with the differences that NASCAR's inspecting this year?
Yeah, I think, Jay Fabian does a great job as series director, and he looked at it and where we were as a sport last year. And, I think there were some thoughts that the optical scanner was going to police everything, but we got a lot of smart people that keep working at things, and there were places that we were able as a sport to work around the optical scanner and kind of get it where we could make more downforce. And that's as a sport we got there. And Jay and the whole NASCAR group, they tried to reel some of that creativity back in, and made some templates that would address areas that they felt like they were losing control of. And he made it very clear in the off season that this was going to happen, and we all knew it. But I do think that it's created a little more parity across, and it's taken some downforce away, which I think puts on good racing, because it's we're sliding around at places like Atlanta. So we're trying to understand how we work our balance back around the aero balance that we've got now. And obviously at Homestead, and Ryan talked a little bit about it, but we missed it at Homestead because we didn't account for the shift as well as we needed to. And but we learned from it and brought that here to another worn-out racetrack, and had success with it. So I think what NASCAR is doing from an inspection standpoint is fair for everybody. It's leveled the playing field a little bit more, and that's kind of how this whole sport works. Is we as teams continue to try to find places that we can work that are advantages for us, and NASCAR looks at it kind of in a global scale and says, okay, where are we not policing, and they've come back to that. So I think it's a level field, and one that we have all we're having to learn a little bit from what our notebooks were last year, but we'll continue to work forward in the areas that we can.
Our final question for these gentlemen will come from Daniel McFadden. Go ahead with the question, Daniel.
Thanks. Hey, Todd, question for you. So what has your preparation been like for the Bristol dirt race? When did you start working on this race, and just what are you expecting?
So my preparation is ask Ryan what he and his dad think, because I've never raced on dirt to speak of it all. And so we're trying to understand what all needs to happen, and watching all the video you can, and just trying to understand through all the shop testing that we can do, and what we can do, and trying to understand what it's going to take to run on dirt. And that's it's great, because Ryan's dad has spent a fair amount of time just talking with me and with my engineers and myself, and trying to understand what it'll be like. And fortunately, Dave ran one of the truck races at Eldora with in Brad's truck team, so he understands a little bit of what taking a stock car type chassis, our type of a race car, to a dirt track. And it's not going to be running like these late models where the left rear jack's underneath itself, and it's got like 4 inches of skew and in the housing, and everything that's going on. So trying to pick off the people around us. Obviously, Jeremy Bullen's the crew chief on the 2 car. He's he has a dirt late model he plays with on the side. Has done that for a couple of years. So just gathering information where we can, and trying to watch the events. And Joey ran a modified at Bristol last weekend in a sequence of stuff there. So just trying to learn from everybody we can around us, and it'll be interesting when we get there. Definitely an uncharted territory.
Thank you.
Great. Well, gentlemen, congratulations on the win. Go celebrate, and good luck next week at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Thank you, everybody.
Good deal.
Thank
Take
you.
care now.